Welcome back. This is Matt from Jaggers Brewing Co. So today's project, I wanted to talk about this fermenter that I have. Full disclosure, I was lucky. One of my subscribers, followers of the channel, Instagram, reached out to me, and we had kind of become friends a little bit over time, and they offered me the opportunity to incorporate this fermenter into my brewing equipment. And the condition was that they be able to stay anonymous, and also that hopefully I found it interesting enough to do a review of it. So with that out of the way, there was no money exchanging hands or anything like that. They sent me this fermenter and some accessories on the kit. Right now it has the cooling accessory here on this lid. So it's got a cooling coil temperature probe here on it. It comes standard with this regular lid that's non-temperature controlled. So that's about it as far as that goes. I got the fermenter, and I started putting it together. As typical, I didn't read any of the instructions. I started putting it together, and I kind of jumped a little bit further ahead than I should have. Tried to put the jacket on after I assembled the lower drain port here, and so I ended up, as I was putting it together, I had to take it kind of back apart to kind of get everything situated. But once I kind of got frustrated, I was like, oh, how the heck does this go together? I actually looked at the instructions and was like, okay. So after all that was said and done, gave it a good rinse out, good bath on the inside using some good cleaners. Went through it a couple of different times just to make sure that any shipping oil and all that kind of stuff got out of it. And I've employed this now. I've had it for right about a year now. I've probably got about 12, 14, 16 or so batches through it. Every time I try to sit down to make this film, I always find myself having just put something in the fermenter, and so it stays pretty busy. It's definitely been able to help me step up my game on having two temperature controlled fermentation going at the same time. So I employ this and the all-rounder from the first temperature controlled video that I did. So they'll sit side by side in the little setup that I've got, and we'll go over that whole setup again, like version 1.5 later in a different video. But so this Delta 8-gallon fermenter really has kind of changed things for me for sure. I'm able to brew, obviously, and with being able to have the second temperature control fermenter, I'm able to kind of move things around quicker. I can say, okay, well, this one's an ale, so I can move it out while I might have a lager in this one, and so keep those temperatures pretty steady on it. So I've only have used, let's go over this lid first, because this will probably be the simplest one. So this is a lot like your normal bucket fermenter, your plastic bucket one. You have a seal on the inside here. You have a little hole here for your airlock, and then you've got this little, I guess, cap off part here. That's how I arranged it. There was a couple other little hoses and things that kind of came with this stuff. I really hadn't found a use for it. I've just been running it this way. Seems to work pretty good. I'd been in the market looking for a good conical fermenter to put around here, and this one kind of checks a lot of the boxes, you know. So I don't normally run it with this particular lid on it. If I'm normally doing something that's not temperature controlled, I'd normally use the plastic buckets, but I've been really trying to make a good conscious effort to use temperature control from here on out, with the occasional ones that I don't normally do. The Lichtenheiner was used in this same fermenter with this lid on it, and it worked really good. I did notice that there wasn't a whole lot of activity in the airlock, so I don't know if maybe I need to do something different with the seal, or I have a suspicion it was probably leaking from the airlock hole there. So that's pretty much all there is to say about this, other than, you know, it cleans up a lot easier than a plastic bucket, looks a lot nicer, and all that. So for the temperature controlled one, so this is pretty cool, pretty dang cool. So we've got the cooling coil here. As you notice, it, you know, like the twist coil that goes in like the Fermzilla all-rounder is normally a little bit longer, like, you know, down to here or so. So they've been able to do something different here in a different format. It seems to work really well. I like it. Then we've got our temperature controlled, our temperature probe tube here, and I mean, it just works, you know. Up here, this middle one, this is for the blow off tube. This is just kind of how I've been running it. Sorry if you see a little bit of water kind of coming out of things and stuff. I just emptied the fermenter out, and so I just cleaned it up, and I was like, you know what, I need to go ahead and get this video done before I brew anymore. The temperature control, or the coil goes in pretty easily, so it slides in through this way. It's got some retaining nuts here. This is barb fitting with the hose here. So one of the things that I would like to change about this is to take these hoses off the temperature control deal. They have the barb fittings. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I just put it together just to run it, and I said, oh, I'll come back to it. It's been working really well the way that it is without any kind of issue. So it's just kind of come to the point of like, well, don't change what ain't broke, right? So it's worked really well. I would like to, for hose management anyways, do something different, maybe something quick release or whatever. That way when I'm moving the fermenter around and all that, I'm not having to deal with all these hoses and stuff. So it's kind of more of my deal. You know, I know with their particular setup, it looks like that's about the only way that it comes. So maybe come up with a hose with an adapter on it, or something like that. I kind of been putting that off because I was like, I've been like, if I go and change the hoses, then maybe I need to start looking into a different cooling setup, something like glycol, or, you know, DIY some kind of glycol or something like that. But this little pond pump hooked to the end here for supply, and then the other hose coming out as the exit, or the other part of the circulation back into the reservoir, has worked out really well. I don't have really any complaints with the way that it functions. It just functions really good. So moving on the inside here of the fermenter, right about here is the temperature probe. So the temperature probe actually, and I haven't taken this all the way apart for like a year, but the temperature probe actually goes into another like protected tube like this. So it's capped off on the inside, and the probe slides in right here into that tube, and it's retained by this this little plastic grommet here. It's worked really well. This temperature thermometer probe seems to work just right on point as my Anvil temp controller that I use for this same setup, with the probe in for that going through the tube down there. Again, just works really well. So here we have the liquid drain for it. That's just at the edge, right about here of the where the conical starts to come down. So it's a dip tube type design, so you can kind of turn it whichever way you need to. I typically keep it right around the 2 to 3 o'clock position on there, so that way I'm not drawing off any yeast. And then down here we have the bottom valve here for drawing out yeast and the remaining liquids that would be in the fermenter. Looking at this thing, I mean, you can tell I've used it. I've primarily have just kind of cleaned the inside of it for the whole year, paying special attention to making sure that the valves get flushed out decently. You know, the inside of the lid gets cleaned and all that. So I really haven't cleaned the outside too much. I'll put some sanitizer around here, the lid, and you know, the rubber grommet that goes on here for the seal, to kind of help keep things clean and functioning there. But I have not taken off this neoprene jacket and cleaned it up. I mean, you can see we've got some stuff on it just for moving it around, it bumping up on the things for moving it around and all that. It's probably time that I go ahead and just knock that off, pull these valves off, give them a really good cleaning, maybe reseal them and stuff. So one of the biggest complaints here with this for me, and I need to do something about this, is I would like to get this raised up off the table a little bit. So when I'm using it and it comes time to transfer, I normally will open up this valve here at the bottom and go ahead and drain some yeast out of the fermenter, so that way I'm not transferring a whole lot of yeast when I go to transfer the beer into a keg. And so in doing that, it's hard to kind of maneuver to catch the yeast. I thought about coming out with some kind of hose adapter fitting and all that, so I could just drain it off. But I think it would be nicer if it was up just a little bit more to be able to reach in there and get a cup on there. Like, I kind of got to make sure that this is on the edge of the table where I'm fermenting at and all that. And I just don't like things sitting on the edge of tables, because, you know, between animals, children, my own clumsiness from time to time, anything that's on the edge of something, there's a really high possibility of it getting knocked over. And I mean, you know, when this thing's loaded up with, you know, liquid, it gets fairly heavy. So during assembly of this thing, when I went to go put this valve on, and I was kind of, you know, playing with things, making sure things opened and maneuvered and all that, this valve here was nearly impossible to open by hand. I had to get a tool, kind of wedge it in here and kind of work it back and forth before it finally opened up. I know it looks like it's operating pretty easily right now, and it kind of is, but that's after like a whole year's worth of usage. And while that's not bad, I kind of dislike that the ways to come in here and grab it to open it up are, I'd almost prefer another handle or something like that. So I don't know if I need to just change out this valve into something else, or maybe I can go to like the plumbing section of Home Depot, find a different handle to be able to operate this thing at. Something with a little bit more leverage would be nice in my opinion. So the moving up, the dip tube part of it works really well. I like it. Like I said, I kind of set it right around that 2 to 3 o'clock position on the clock, and seems to work really well. All in all, the whole package works extremely well, and I'm lucky and fortunate enough that somebody sent it to me and asked me to use it and give my thoughts on it. I've been able to make a lot more beer throughout the year, so like I said, this thing's pretty much always got some wort in it, just trekking along. I've been able to get pretty low in temperatures on it. I haven't really taken notes. I probably should have. I should, I guess, go back and look at some of the beers that I've put in it. Seems to hold temperature pretty well. I know for sure I can get pretty low, mid 40s easily in it. I haven't really seen any other reason to dip it any lower, and I do plan on trying to do that. But again, right now with my cooling setup, I'm using like ice in the setup, and so you know, just like dealing with all that ice kind of gets to be a little monotonous from time to time, and so you know, I tend to try to keep the fermentation temperatures, you know, in the 50s, 60s, low 70s, or somewhere right around there. Something that's easy to maintain with ice and time, you know. So I know that they make a couple other accessories that I don't have right now for it. I know they make a different lid with the same cooling capacity that's like tri-clamped and all that. I'll probably try to pick up that lid. I have a feeling that I would like to get that lid and modify it a little bit to be able to ferment with. I think that would be a pretty cool setup to be able to like dry hop with and things like that. You know, other than the whole height deal and kind of just this valve, like this has been pretty amazing experience to be able to ferment with, and I can't thank the person enough that sent it to me. I feel like it's really helped me step up my game, turning things around faster, having better control over the beers and stuff like that. You know, I know that like for a conical fermenter like this, there's a lot of big names out there. There's a lot of cool equipment, and you know, you sometimes get it in your head that like, oh, okay, well, if I'm going to invest the money, I might as well get the biggest, baddest thing out there. And really, to tell you the truth, I mean, I know these are kind of like budget friendly, and you know, budget is a little different than everybody, or different for everybody, especially, you know, nowadays. But I don't think I would hesitate on picking up another one. I've kind of got it in my head that maybe I should, you know, and spend some more time with that, and maybe retire the all-rounder, or maybe dedicate that towards pressure fermentation, so that way I've got two things on temperature control, and I can play around with pressure fermenting. I know this right now isn't necessarily rated at pressure deals. I think I've seen some people say, you know, you're okay putting a couple PSI on it, but I don't think that I would trust it. I know it doesn't look like, at least from what I've seen from the actual manufacturer, that they recommend to do it. So that is something that I'm interested in. You know, I said if I was to go spend the money on a very nice conical, it's got to be able to pressure ferment, have temperature control, have the tri-clamps and all that. And like I said, I mean, this thing checks most of the boxes, and it's an awesome little fermenter. I've really have enjoyed it, and I can't think, like I said, the person that sent it to me enough, and I don't see anything wrong with it. So if you're in the market and you're looking for a pretty decent conical without spending, you know, $700, $800, $900, $1,200 or thereabouts, you know, take a look at this thing. It's a pretty decent setup. pretty decent price, and you can kind of cobble together some stuff to make it work, as far as like the hoses and the hose clamps and stuff like that, as you kind of progress, and you know, you can change up some stuff, can kind of continue to use it and move it with your skill. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for coming to check me out, and just hang out with us. You know, love seeing the channel grow. I really appreciate everything that you guys do for me so very much. Again, thank you, each and every one of you. Till we see you guys next time, probably on the temperature control setup 1.5, as we talk about some modifications that we've had to do there. We'll catch you next time. Cheers and thanks again. Bye.